to late game situation in terms of potential pinch hitter. So it's just a different game in the National League. And assuming that Major League Baseball does get going here in a couple weeks, that will be part of the strategy as we have universal DH for the first time in both leagues.
And a runner starting at second base to open up the extra innings if that happens. And almost had extra innings in the first game, but West Central is able to win on a walk-off walk. Didn't even get a hit in that seventh inning to beat Post State 5-4. So they lost 2 one-run ball games. Now 3-6 on the year as Post State in one-run ball games. 19-11 overall on the season as they've now played they're going into their 31st game of the year. And the way things look, if Post State would play into the state tournament in the Final Four, they could play up to potentially still 50 games this year. So we're at the 30-game mark, and while it looks like the season is winding down, we could still be close to just a little over halfway of the season done.
Yeah, and we talked about the heavy schedule that Post State's facing here just over the next 10 days. 3 games this weekend. Then they follow that up with the doubleheader in Harrisburg on Tuesday, and then 6 games in 4 days next weekend out in Rapid City at the Post 22 Veterans Classic. So it's a heavy slate for Post State, and then you got one more week of baseball where they don't have the schedule in front of me, but if memory serves, I think we go to Mandan on the Wednesday following the tournament in Rapid City, and then you follow that with a Friday doubleheader at home against Spearfish, the last chance to see the Eights before postseason, and you certainly hope that they have at least one series at home in the postseason. But again, that's yet to be determined. But right now they're sitting third in power points, and so you just while it looks good right now, we got a long ways to go before the end of the year.
And Post State will take on Sioux Falls East here, and coming up at 1:15, right around that time for first pitch. So we'll step aside for 3 minutes. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Humboldt, getting set for the second game of the day. John Winkler alongside Greg Dean as Sioux Falls East just about ready to take the field. They are the home teams here in this second game. Sioux Falls East then will play West Fargo. Then West Fargo will then play West Central to finish out the day and to finish out the pool here at Humboldt, and here West Central hosting this pool. For Post State, a much different look in this tournament than it was from last year. Obviously, it's a year and a month later than instead of the same month that it usually is. But last year they went 3-0 in their pool, won their quarterfinal game, and ended up losing the semifinals. Here they will go 0-2 to start off, potentially even be 1-2, and you hope for Post State that's how it is. We're going to be 1-2 because this is the game that matters the most. Trying to beat this Sioux Falls East team for the third straight time, and they were going to go against Tyler Boyum, who usually is their catcher behind home plate. Aiden Beck will be the catcher now for Sioux Falls East as they are looking for their second win, and that could put up would be a big game between West Fargo and Sioux Falls East if East does get a win. I mean, we could see two of these teams go 2-1 and then have to figure out who's going to, the tiebreaker would be the difference in who's going to win the pool. Yeah,
absolutely. And unfortunately, when you play in a big tournament like this, a 12-team tournament, a lot of times it all comes down to, and you use that wild card. It really all does come down to runs allowed, and sometimes that's just a matter of the breaks.
And again, next weekend, starting Thursday, we'll have a tournament over in Rapid City, the Veterans Classic, as they'll play 6 games for sure in those 4 days. Thursday, 1 game. Friday, we'll play a doubleheader. Saturday is a doubleheader as well. And then Sunday, no matter what, even if they go 0-5, does Post State, they will still play in the finale of that tournament some point on Sunday, no matter what their record is. 5-0, 0-5, they're going to play at some point on Sunday. So that's the only tournament that you're guaranteed to play on Sunday, where the other 2, you have to do so well to be able to play on that Sunday. So again, for Post State, Garrett Stout will lead off. He's pitching. It is Lincoln Keno's the batting second. Matt Lusk will bat third, playing center field. Andy Gordon's the first baseman in the cleanout spot. River Iverson will bat fifth, playing left field. Cade Hinkle is the catcher, batting 6th. Jack Van Camp is in right field, batting 7th. A.J. Gain, the third baseman, batting 8th. And Jake Mayer will round out the order as he bats 9th, playing second base here for Post State. As the warm-up tosses are just about set for first pitch. Tyler Boyum is the starting pitcher for Sioux Falls East. Post State's got 2 wins against Sioux Falls East. 9-5 was the final score just about a week ago when they played against Minot, as they are in that triangular with Minot. Here's the first pitch to Garrett Stout upstairs for ball 1, and it is at 1:16 here on this Saturday afternoon. Glad you could join us here from beautiful Humboldt, and a good, nice breeze coming through the press box, especially here for us. Makes it feel like it's almost a May afternoon instead of a middle of July afternoon. It counts now 1-1 to Garrett Stout.
Yeah, 79 degrees at first pitch. Same temperature it was at first pitch for game number 1 today.
And we're in the shade now. The sun was kind of peering into the press box in the first game, as that one is a swing and a miss, now 1-2. So now that we have the shade and the wind with us, it makes it feel even better here in Humboldt. As Boyum works from the stretch here with the leadoff hitter, 1-2 pitch is outside, now 2-2 to Garrett Stout.
Stout came into the weekend hitting .418, 38 hits, and like we'd said, leads the team in virtually every offensive category. 38 hits, 91 at bats, 9 doubles, 3 triples, 4 home runs. That's the biggest one.
Throws it from the shortstop, as that one was a slow roller that will go into and out of play for Stout to get to second. It'll be a leadoff. Boy, I don't know if you might want to call that a leadoff hit for Stout. I think he was going to get there anyway and then call it an error on the throw to get him to second. So we'll give him a hit and an error as Heinert threw that wildly. Probably was better at just fielding it and just stopping. And instead now Stout is over at second in scoring position here to lead off the ball game.
Yeah, and what we've seen out of Sioux Falls East so far this year in the 2 times that they've played Post State is they have, at least in those 2 games, tended to be kind of error prone and have given up a fair number of unearned runs. And so first batter of the day, Post State gets a slow ground ball and like you said, result in infield hit and an error on the throw. So we'll see if that defensive lapse continues to plague Sioux Falls East.
Lincoln Keenel's trying to bunt the first pitch. He'll bunt it foul back to the backstop. Here's the 0-1. That one's over for strike 2, and it's now 0-2. Keenel's went perfect 3 innings in the loss in the last game. From the first through third inning, relieved Benedine, came in, retired all 9 men that he faced. The 0-2 pitch. Keenel's will line it to the third baseman. It's caught, and then diving back in safely is Stout without a throw, and there's now 1 down. Here in the top of the first inning. That'll bring in Matt Lusk, who will bat in the number 3 spot. First chance for him to hit in that number 3 spot. I haven't seen that very much. It's been either Andy Gordon, Gray Zabel, or Andrew Coverdale. I guess Stout has hit in that 3 spot a couple times, but you haven't seen really any of those other than those 4 guys that have hit in that number 3 spot for Post 8. But Matt Lusk will get his first chance here as Stout leads away from second. The first pitch to Lusk is over for strike 1.
Lusk coming into the weekend hitting .310 on the year, 18 hits and 58 at bats. He's got a double, a triple, and a grand slam home run, which added 4 to his overall total of 17 RBIs, 19 runs scored.
Which came against Sioux Falls, actually came against Yankton. Jack Van Camp, who's going to come up later in this game. He was batting 7th. He hit the grand slam against Sioux Falls East back over in Brandon a couple of weeks ago. It was on the same day that Matt Lusk hit a grand slam against Yankton. Here's the next pitch to Matt Lusk. That will bounce in. Stouts, he was in between second and third. Tried to read that perfectly, but a great block over there by Beck, who did not allow Stout to take third base as the count goes to 2-1 to Matt Lusk.
Yeah, and again, Boyum has been the catcher the first 2 times that these 2 teams have played.
Lusk will shoot this out to left field, going back on it, still going back, and that one will go 1 hop off the wall. Stout's going to round third. He's going to try and score. He's going to be held up at third base. The throw comes into second, and sliding in is Matt Lusk safely at second with a double. And there's now 2 runners in scoring position with nobody outs. And that'll bring in Andy Gordon.
Yeah, and again, we talked earlier today in that first game that the ball, any fly ball, really carries. That one was no different. It just got up in the air and flew all the way out to the fence. And Stout had to hold up at second base. He was actually going to tag on the play if that ball was caught.
And Stout will score on the first pitch to Andy Gordon as that got to the backstop and no throw. Lusk moves up to third base. And it's now 1-0 lead here for Post State with Lusk on at third with nobody out. And Andy Gordon is the RBI machine near the top for Post State. Has a chance to drive in Matt Lusk. And a chance for 2 runs driven in. He'll take Stout to score and potentially drive in another one as the infield will come in here with nobody out in the top of the first. The 1-0 pitch is missed low, now 2-0.
And what Sioux Falls East obviously is looking at is the fact that they are looking for a low-scoring ball game. The fact that they're playing the infield in here with 1 out here in the top of the first, they're not expecting to probably get a lot of runs off of Garrett Stout. The way they're playing their defense here in the top of the first. The
2-0 will be in the dirt, and a good stop there from Beck, and the count is now 3-0 here to Andy Gordon. On deck is River Iverson. And Post State's got the first 2 men on base here to open up the ball game. Gordon will swing and foul that one away. As the count is 3-1. Here to the first baseman, Andy Gordon.
Turned Gordon loose 3-0. That's an interesting call right there.
Boyum will come set. Here's a 3-1 pitch. That one we fouled away just over the top of the press box here. Boy, if that would have been any lower, that would have been coming straight into here for you.
I would have expected you would have dove in front and protected me on that one.
I'm not sure if the reflexes aren't what like they used to be.
Well, you think your reflexes are slow.
Here's the 3-2 pitch to Gordon. He'll swing and miss as he got tied up in knots, and he goes down on strikes, and there's 2 down here in the top of the first inning, and that'll bring in River Iverson.
I mean, I'm not sure how old you are, but I think I've got you doubled up probably, so that means I'm twice as slow as you are.
The amount of naps I've taken in the last week, I feel like I've gained about 20 years of my life. Here's the first pitch to River Iverson. That will miss low for ball 1.
Yeah, you had a tough schedule between baseball and storm coverage and just your normal everyday life as a radio broadcaster. You've pulled some odd hours in the last 7-10 days.
I joked with you yesterday that my lunch break turned into a nap, and then after I got off work, it turned into a nap. As Iverson will foul it back, and it's now 1-1. And then yesterday we had to drive here, and that was around the lunchtime hour. So my body was saying, "What are you doing? You're sitting down. You could easily recline right now and go to sleep." That probably wouldn't be the best thing for me. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Boyum to Iverson. That will bounce in now 2-1 to the left fielder Iverson.
For the future of automated vehicles.
Boy, that would be great. Take a nap while driving to the Sioux Falls area.
Yeah, I would. What I read is those days are probably not too far in the future.
2-1 pitch is grounded to the third baseman. The long throw to first is in time from Schaefer to Christoffels, and that will retire the side. Post State does get one run in the top of the first inning on one hit. There are actually 2 hits, 1 error, and 1 man left on base. We have played half an inning. Post State has the 1-0 lead. Sioux Falls East coming to the plate. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today is KCCR, and today is KCCR.com. Bottom of the first inning here. Post State's and the Sioux Falls East 1-0 lead is Grant Graber, Ty Schaefer, Nate Sprinkle will be the first 3 hitters for Sioux Falls East. Tyler Boyle will bat 4th. Garen Heinert will bat 5th. It'll be Brady Christoffels batting 6th. Aiden Beck, the catcher, batting 7th. Nick Lounsbury, the center fielder, batting 8th. And Logan Bacher is the right fielder as he bats 9th here for Post 15 East. As they won their first game against West Central yesterday, 5-3. Looking to go 2-0 to start this pool before they face West Fargo, who is also 1-0. Of course, they beat Pierre 2-1 yesterday. And Post State playing spoiler Post 15, not only just in general of this tournament, but also in terms of helping themselves out in the seat points by beating another Class A South Dakota team. First pitch from Garrett Stout is over for strike 1 to Grant Graber. These two teams, it was less than a week ago. Graber went 0 for 1. Back on July 6th, past Monday, as it's now 1-1 to Graber.
Stout comes into the game. This was his 6th appearance on the year. His 5th start, 15 1/3 innings pitched, 3-0 on the year. Tied for the team lead and wins 3. Goes with 24 strikeouts, 12 walks, a 1.83 ERA, and 1.44 WHIP.
2-1 pitch. That one's skied out to left field and out of play, and it's now 2-2. And that ball will probably not be returned as that one went all the way out into the high grass area over there. I think anybody's going to go find that baseball.
Yeah. Only four runs allowed on the year for Garrett Stout, 10 hits. All 4 runs have been earned so far. So like we said, this is kind of the hoss, the big guy, the ace that you would expect from the varsity player who's in his 5th year of varsity action with Post State.
The 3-2 pitch misses outside, and it's a leadoff walk to Grant and Graber, and that'll bring up Ty Schaefer, the third baseman. As for Post State, another leadoff walk here to open up a ball game, and Stout's going to find the strike zone. And Coach White doesn't have a whole lot of hair on the top of his head, but assume that they'd be gray if they start to grow out right now, because just been too many walks so far in this the first game, and already have one to start out game 2. The first pitch is over for strike 1 to Ty Schaefer.
Yeah, and again, a lot of times, especially with Legion age and younger players, that first inning can be the toughest inning because you're not totally warm. You don't really have that sweat going. Don't really have that rhythm. Really don't have a feel for where that strike zone is going to be. So a lot of times, that first inning can be the toughest, and you just gotta grind your way through it.
Count is 1-1 here to Schaefer. Stout from the stretch. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's foul back. Now 1-2. I make that comment about Coach White because I right now have some hair, but I consider myself a bald man as well. So I can talk about someone else who has not so much hair. The count is 1-2 here to Schaefer. There's a line shot in the right center field. That's down for a base hit. Moving over is Les to cut it off. He'll throw it into second, and it's first and third here with nobody out for Sioux Falls East and their first hit of the ball game.
And we are right above the Sioux Falls East dugout, so you can hear the chatter and the excitement after that hit by Schaefer has put runners on the corners.
As here's Nate Sprinkle, who will try and tie the ball game up just as quick as Post State had taken the lead. Sprinkle went 1 for 3 with 2 runs driven in the 9-5 win for Post State. Sioux Falls East went to 0-2 in that triangular. Although Post State, they technically finished the game. They didn't get all the way through it, and they got called for lightning, but they had played enough to end up getting the loss to Minot. But Sioux Falls East went 0-2 in that triangular as the 1-0 is swung on and missed, now 1-1. They lost 20-5 to Minot as things just kind of fell apart for East in that game in between Post State playing East and Minot. As Stout will come set from the stretch. Here's the 1-1. That's over for strike 2, and it's now a 1-2 count to Nate Sprinkle.
Yeah, and Garrett Stout, again, probably has the liveliest arm of the pitching staff. He's going to sit mid to high 80s most of the day.
There's a ground ball to the left side. Keenels will field the long throw to first. Is not in time. Good scoop by Gordon, but it's an infield hit. And the game is tied at 1-1 here with nobody out in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, just a little squibber off the end of the bat and kind of into no man's land over there, just off of the pitcher's mound. Keenholz had to come in a long way on that slow roller, and now East has got something going here. The runners on first and second will run across, and nobody out here in the bottom of the first.
Boylan will show bunt, pulls it back, and taken for strike 1. First and second here with nobody out. Bottom of the first inning. Game is tied 1-1. Boylan went 1 for 3 with a run driven in back on July 6th on that Monday, this past Monday. Again, Boylan showing bunt, pulls it back, and that one's taken high for ball 1, and the count is even at 1-1.
Yeah, and again, what you're really looking for here is now you're just looking to get out of this inning.
Boylan will bunt the ball foul down the first base side over the first base dugout, and the count is now 1-2. And would expect the bunt to be taken off here with 2 strikes in the bottom of the first inning with 2 men on, nobody out. First 3 guys have reached base on a walk and 2 singles. Here's the 1-2 from Stout to Boylan. Outside, 2-2.
Go back to finish the thought about Stout. Like I said, he's most days he's going to sit mid to high 80s with his fastball, and like I said, he's got a number of innings. He's been a varsity pitcher for most of the last 3 to 4 years, so he's got a lot of experience. Big game pitcher right here.
2-2 is bounced in, and the count is now full to Tyler Boylan, pitcher against pitcher. Here in the bottom of the first inning, Stout in danger of walking the bases loaded, and he will walk the bases loaded. That will get all the way to the backstop, and it's a walk, and the bases are now full. And here's Garen Heinertz, and Coach White started he's going to go back and just sit in the dugout. I thought maybe he was stirring to try and tell someone to go warm up, but right now Stout struggling to find it.
Shortstop number 8, Garen Heinertz.
Yeah, and again, if anybody can dig their way out of a situation like this, it's probably Garrett Stout. I mean, he's as tough mentally as anybody on this roster.
First pitch is over for strike 1 to Garen Heinert, the shortstop here in this ball game for Sioux Falls East. Heinert did not hit. Actually, he did. We'll go 1 for 4. The 0-1 swing and a miss. Now 0-2, and Stout's looking for a big strikeout here. The base is loaded, nobody out in the bottom of the first.
We've seen big game performances out of Garrett Stout time and time again on the football field, on the baseball field, on the basketball court. So he can perform given the opportunity. Just gotta find a way to get her done now.
1-2 is upstairs, and it's now a 2-2 count. Excuse me, 0-2 is upstairs, now a 1-2 count to Heiner. Stout will work from the windup here. The base is loaded. Shake off several pitches, and time is called by Heiner trying to figure out how many pitches that Stout has in his arsenal. So here's the 1-2 pitch now from Stout. That is at the letters and looked at for strike 3, and there's now one down here in the bottom of the first inning. That's a big strikeout there from Stout. Now a ground ball can get you out of this inning. Here's Brady Christoffel, the first baseman. Christoffels went 1 for 4 back on Monday in the 9-5 win for Post State. Stout from the windup. Here is the first pitch to Christoffels. That one will miss low for ball 1.
Yeah, ground ball would be really solid right here, especially if it's a hard hit ground ball right at somebody or comebacker.
Here's the 1-0 upstairs, now 2-0 to the first baseman, Christoffels. On deck is Aiden Beck. He'd be the 7th man to hit in the inning. Bases are loaded here with 1 down here in the bottom of the first. That one is over for strike 1. Framed there by Hinkle. Pull it down just right at the letters. Now 2-1's the count. Garrett Stout works from the windup. Here is the 2-1. Swing and a miss. 2-2 off speed. And although Christoffel stayed back, he was unable to make contact, and the count is even now at 2-2.
Yeah, I really had Christoffels fooled on that off-speed pitch, and he was way out in front of that pitch.
Here's the 2-2 from Stout to Christoffels. Outside now 3-2. And Stout not wanting to walk in that go-ahead run here in the bottom of the first with the bases loaded. 1 down here in the bottom of the first inning. Stout work from the windup. And he'll step off and get reset.
Yeah, and really, we talked about the value of going deep into the game as a starting pitcher, and hopefully Stout.
As Stout will get another called third strike, and there's now 2 down. Christoffels knew it as soon as the pitch crossed the zone, and that'll bring up Aiden Beck.
Yeah, Stout already at 30 pitches, and he's not even out of the first inning yet. And you know, we had a short outing from Bennett Dean to start game number 1. So you're hoping you can get a couple of quick innings out of Stout. Hopefully he can get out of this inning, get a couple of quick innings, and get back in line with his pitch count to go deep into this game.
First pitch is outside and low for ball 1 to Garrett Stout, or from Garrett Stout to Aiden Beck. There's a ground ball that will be foul, and it's now 1-1 to the catcher. 7th man to come to the plate. First 4 men reach base, a walk, 2 hits, and another walk. And then back-to-back strikeouts, called third strike. And here's Beck with a 1-1 count. And again, Stout will step off and time is called.
And again, with 8 games coming up in the next 8 days starting tomorrow, you know, you really are looking for some, you know, for some good innings today to try to take some, not only give the rest of your pitching staff some rest, but just set yourself up so that you have every option available if you're Coach White.
Count is 2-1. Pitch from Stout. That one's popped up and out of play on the right side. And it will remain, or now will go to 2-2, and Stout will strike away from finishing this bottom of the first inning.
Hopefully he can get out of this inning with 1 more pitch and get the 8s back up and get the sticks in their hands.
Stout from the windup. Here's the 2-2 pitch. That one's popped up on the right side. Going over is Jack Van Camp. He will slide and is down for a fair ball, and 2 runners will score. The throw coming in. The 3rd run's going to try and score. The throw. The plate is not in time, and it's a 3-run double. And Post State is now up, Sioux Falls East is now up 4-1 here in the bottom of the first inning.
Yeah, and again, a ball down the right field line just went the other way for Beck and just landed fair just by about a foot. And unfortunately for Post State, again, the breaks just aren't going their way today.
So Stout will have to try and work out with a runner at second here with now 2 down. The first pitch comes inside to Nick Lounsbury. And it's a 1-0 count here to the center fielder.
Silver lining for Post State is you got a lot of ball game left, and you got a team that has proven that they can come from behind. We'll just see if they can do it yet today.
Stout will step off as Keno's was at the bag, and without a throw, Beck will retreat back to second. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Stout to Lounsbury. That one will be over at the knees, now 1-1. With a strike away from keeping this a 1-1 ball game, and then a 3-run double has made it a 4-1 game here in the bottom of the first. The first inning is going to be pretty important come Tuesday, as Post State has struggled here in the first inning of these two games on Saturday. The 1-1 is missed low, now 2-1. Here to the 8th man in the order, Nick Lounsbury. Logan Bacher is on deck. Stout will come set from the stretch. Here comes the 2-1 to Lounsbury. That one is over at the knees, now 2-2. And again, Stout a strike away from ending this bottom of the first inning. And one where, like Greg said, a lot of ball game left. 5 innings still, or 6 innings still left to try and reclaim the lead. That one will come in and hits Lounsbury. And it checked the base umpire if he swung, but he got hit by the pitch, and Lounsbury's on a base. First and second here with 2 down, and that will bring up the number 9 hitter. Logan Baker, the right fielder. All 9 guys will come to the plate here in this first inning.
Yeah, the reason they were checking with the field ump is that even though you get hit by the pitch, if you swing, it's a strike, yep. And you stay at the plate, and so got a little bit of a timeout here as they're just checking to make sure Lounsbury's okay. But again, East has a threat going again here with runners on first and second and 2 out.
First pitch to Baker. That one will miss low for ball 1. And Stout's almost halfway through his pitch. He's going to be almost halfway through his pitch count here in the first inning.
Yeah, that was the 41st pitch of the inning for Garrett Stout.
Here's the 1-0. That one is over for strike 1. Now 1-1. And like Greg said, too, is we always seen this team in Post State come back in games plenty of times so far this year. The 1-1, that one is over now, 1-2.
Yeah, a 3-run deficit is certainly not insurmountable, especially when you've got virtually the entire game left to go. But again, you've got to dig yourself out and be a little mentally tough right now because Saturday has not proven to be very fond of Post State so far today.
And there's the 3rd strikeout of the inning for Garrett Stout. All 3 were called 3rd strike, but 4 runs score in the inning on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We have played 1 full inning, and it's a 4-1 Sioux Falls East lead. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today is KCCR, and today is KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here, top of the second inning, Post State's trailing 4-1. As it'll be Cade Hinkle, Jack Van Camp, A.J. Gaden, 6, 7, and 8 here for the Eights. As they have work in front of them, down by 3 here to open up the top of the second. As Boyum will look and work with the lead. As the first pitch to Hinkle is outside for ball 1. Already going to be some action here for Post State's. Just past the left field fence. Or the third base side of the 1-0 is inside now, 2-0. Looks like maybe Matt Lusk is warming up here for Post State.
Yeah, and again, if you're Coach White, with 40 pitches, you have 41 pitches for Garrett Stout. If you'd make the decision to go to Matt Lusk here either in the second or soon, there's potential where you could bring back Garrett Stout and throw him on Tuesday against Harrisburg.
Oh, 2-1 is over now, 2-2. to the leadoff hitter here in the top of the second. Yeah, that's the good thing about that. If there is the silver lining in this is that if Stout does not go back out for the second inning, that he'd be available for Harrisburg on Tuesday. Now 3-2 is the count to Cade Hinkle, because he'd have to throw for 3 days rest to not be able to come back on Tuesday against Harrisburg. And obviously that with 41 pitches, he is well underneath that right now. 3-2 pitch. Hinkle swings and misses, goes down on strikes. And there's one down here to open up the top of the second. And then we'll bring in Jack Van Camp.
Jack Van Camp.
In one swing against Sioux Falls East a couple weeks ago, he scored 4 runs. So, again, only being down by 3, obviously you can't do that here with nobody on base. But we've seen Post State hit several grand slams, 3 in fact so far this year, that this team is not out of it, as that one's popped up on the infield. It's in fair territory for the second baseman to make the catch. Van Camp thought it was foul. He didn't even know where it went to. He was standing at the batter's box up until the last couple seconds of that ball hanging in the air, and Graber was able to make the catch over at second.
Yeah, and again, Graber came in on the grass, and again, the wind is just pushing that ball. He had to make an adjustment at the very last second and take a step backwards just to be able to glove that ball.
A.J. Gayden will take strike one. The third baseman here in this ball game for Post State. Had the day off yesterday, played in both games, started both games here today. The 0-1 pitch is inside now, 1-1.
Scheduled for Post State after the Tuesday doubleheader in Harrisburg, they play Millard West out of Omaha in the first game of the Veterans Classic out in Rapid City. Then, like you said, they've got they got 2 games on Friday.
That one's over on the left side. Is it going to hang enough for the third baseman and Schaefer to make a play? It will not, and it's now 1-2 here to Gayden.
2 games on Friday versus the Rapid City Post 320 Junior Legion team, and then Sioux Falls Post 15 West. Then they're off until mid-afternoon on Saturday, where they'll play a very good Gillette team, and then follow that up with Rapid City Post 22, and then the placing game on Sunday.
The 1-2 is inside now, 2-2 to A.J. Gayden. Yeah, a nice schedule for Post State, although it could be an early Friday morning. The game starts at 8 o'clock local time, 9 o'clock Central time, so we'll be on the air around 8:45 on Friday for that doubleheader. And, of course, all those other games, we'll tell you the start times of them, but it's not a guarantee that they're going to start at that time, because there's going to be plenty of games in front of Post State. There's another foul ball by Gayden to the third base dugout, and a good play over there by Coach Brian White. And it's remained even at 2-2 with 2 down here in the top of the second.
And Coach White makes the decision that the ball is good enough to be put back in play, but Boyum didn't like it, and looks like maybe it was scuffed up a little bit, so he returns it to the catcher and gets a new one.
Here's a 2-2 pitch to A.J. Gayden. That one's at the knees and looked at for strike 3, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Tyler Boyum, and that retires the top of the second. 4-1 lead for Sioux Falls West after an inning and a half. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here at the bottom of the second inning, Matt Lusk will be on the pitch here for Post State. So Garrett Stout's day on the mound is done after one inning of just 41 pitches. From the rotation of all this, it will be Matt Lusk coming in to pitch. Stout will go to shortstop, which pushes Lincoln Keenels over to third. From third base to right field is A.J. Gayden. And then from the right field spot to center field will be Jack Van Camp. Hopefully you got all that. Hopefully you've been keeping notes and you're keeping score at home, well, you better have been listening the first time around. No, I'm just kidding. We go through that again, but for Post State, Matt Lusk is looking to keep this at just 4 runs for Sioux Falls East, as he's looked good, and this is probably the longest he might throw in quite a while for Post State.
Yeah, for Lusk, this will be his 9th appearance on the year. 17 innings pitched in those 8 appearances so far. He did start one game. He's 2-0 on the year with 3 saves. 3 of the 4 saves on the year. He's been primarily used in a late inning role for Post State out of the bullpen. 10 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them earned, 10 walks, 15 strikeouts. You pair that up with his 2.06 ERA.
First pitch to the top of the order. Grant Graber is over for strike one. The 0-1 pitch. That one's at the knees. It's now 0-2 to Graber. He walked and came around to score. The first 4 guys reached base in the bottom of the first inning. All 4 guys came around to score. A 3-run double from Aiden Beck. Scored 3 of those 4 guys. Graber scored on the RBI single from Sprinkle, which tied the game up momentarily until that 3-run double for Aiden Beck. That one went to the backstop on the 0-2 pitch, so it's now 1-2. Lusk from the windup. Here is the 1-2 pitch. That one's fouled back, and it will remain at 1-2.
And there had been some talk about possibly stretching Matt Lusk out a little bit, giving him some extra innings and seeing if he can go a little deeper into an outing, maybe go 3-4 innings or so. So we'll see if that's the route that Coach White uses here and tries to get him some extra work as we head into the latter part of the season and into the postseason.
Count is now 2-2 here to the second baseman, Grant Graber. Here's a 2-2 pitch. There's a ground ball on the left side. Feeling the backhand by Stout. Tough throw across his body, and it will not be in time. And just to have the opportunity to get that play, to make that out, is still incredible that Stout was able to throw across his body and still make it that close.
Yeah, really had to go several steps to his right to try to make the play. He had to be backhanded the ball, and his momentum kept carrying him towards third base. And so because of that, he threw off balance and actually was almost able to get Graber. Graber was safe by a step, but it was a close play at first. A testament to the strength of Stout's arm.
Schaefer will show bunt, pulls it back, taking low for ball 1. He singled, drove Graber over to third on that single back in the bottom of the first inning. And then came around to score on that double from Beck with 2 outs in that bottom of the first inning. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Schaefer not showing bunt, takes it at the knees for strike 1, and the count is even here at a ball and a strike for the third baseman. And Matt Lusk continues to work on the mound. Seems like Kobe Carr pitched well yesterday. And not saying that these guys aren't pitching well, but it seems like the mound for Post State is not to the liking of a lot of these pitchers that have been in today. 1-1 is upstairs now, 2-1.
Yeah, Schaefer tried to call time just before Lusk went into his windup, and now he's having a conversation with the home plate umpire. I think just trying to make sure he and the home plate umpire are on the same page in case he asks for time again.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. That one bounces low, and now it's 3-1. And Matt Lusk not looking for his first walk here for the Eights. Garrett Stout walked 2 guys to another man. Gave up 3 hits in that 1 inning of work. Here's a 3-1 pitch. There's a line shot foul down the third baseline. And the count is now full at 3-2.
And again, depending on how this game goes, you may want to use multiple arms if this thing. You hope it doesn't get out of hand for the Eights, but if it does get out of hand, you may want to use multiple arms just to get through this game. And again, set yourself up and give Coach White a number of options as you go into that stretch next week where you play 8 games over the span of 5 days.
Swing and a miss by Schaefer, and there's now 1 down for strikeout of the ball game for Matt Lusk. And all 4 outs so far for that Post State is recorded have been by a strikeout. But they trail 4-1. There's a pickoff attempt. Back in safely is Graber. So here's Nate Sprinkle. He singled home at the first run of the ball game for the Eights, or excuse me, for Sioux Falls East. First pitch is over for strike 1. Came around to score on the 3-run double from Aiden Beck. 0-1's the count here to The left fielder, Nate Sprinkle.
And if you're just joining us, the Eights are in their black tops, black and green caps with the gray bills, gray pants. Sioux Falls East wearing their gray, black, and purple. If they were the Houston Astros, we'd call them the Tequila Sunrise jerseys.
Right.
The multiple horizontal stripes on the bottom half of the jerseys, gray pants with the purple striping down the sides.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Sprinkle. That one will be a swing and a miss. It's now 1-2. It's a one that baseball you can get away with. It's every broadcaster's nightmare with the football team if that's how that's the way their football jerseys are. Those are not fun to try and call when you get those multiple colors around the numbers. 1-2 is outside now, 2-2. But baseball you can handle because it's a slower moving game in terms of the batter comes up, you know who the batter is because he's in the lineup card and will make a motion if he is a pinch hitter. But yeah, as when you broadcast football, those are the jerseys that you absolutely hate. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Matt Lusk to Sprinkle, just a bit inside, and it's now 3-2.
I was actually kind of fond of those Tequila Sunrise jerseys of the Astros back in the 70s and early 80s. I thought they were kind of a classy jersey back then.
Yeah, they were. The colors that they had was perfect. The 3-2 pitch, that one's popped up over on the left side. It'll be taken by the center fielder in Van Camp as he'll make the catch backpedaling, and there's now 2 down. The first man to be retired other than a strikeout here in the ball game for Sioux Falls East as they'll bring up Tyler Boyum as he drew a walk and came around to score. I was going to make a joke or try and kind of take a dig at the Astros, but I'll leave that one alone.
Well, I thought about making a garbage can joke too, but we'll just leave that one alone.
Yeah, that's for the trash anyway. Here's first pitch. That one's out towards center field. Van Camp going back on it, still going back. He'll turn. It's going to go over his head and one hop off the wall. One run is going to come around to score as it's a 2-out RBI double for Tyler Boyum. Helps himself out, and it's a 5-1 lead for Sioux Falls East.
Yeah, and again, just a 2-out hit. And we talked about the fact that early in the season that was an Achilles heel for Post 8, and right now because they were not getting those 2-out base hits, and right now the script has flipped, and now it's the 2-out hits that are doing damage to Post 8.
Matt Lusk from the stretch. Here's the first pitch to Garen Heinert over for strike one. Heinert struck out looking. He and Christoffels with the bases loaded and nobody out. Struck out looking at those back-to-back times, and Stout was a strike away from getting out of the first inning, allowing just one run, and would have kept it a one-run ball game or a 1-1 game, but instead ended up giving up a 3-run double to Aiden Beck. Here's the 0-1 pitch upstairs to Heinert, now 1-1. 2 down here in the bottom of the second. 5-1 is their score. Post 8 trails by 4. Boyum, who just doubled in the 5th run of the ball game, he is on at second. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Inside now 2-1. And again, Post 8 will not play on Sunday now as they are 0-2. But this is the important game of the weekend to beat Sioux Falls East for seed points. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Lusk to Heinert. At the knees, now 2-2. And the strike zone for the umpire, some of the batters haven't liked the low strikes, but I would say that's been one of the most consistent calls we've seen from this umpire, and really from a lot of most umpires. 2-2 pitch, runner's off with a pitch, and it's going to be grounded into the third base dugout, and the count remains at 2-2.
As of Thursday, these are the most recent updated standings for Class A baseball in South Dakota. Sioux Falls East was sitting in 8th place in the standings. They're 7-8 against Class A opponents on the year. Again, Pierre in 3rd, and this would be the game, like we said, that is the most important one of the weekend for them.
As Heinert swings and misses, he's down on strikes for the second time. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. 2 full complete here at Humboldt, and it is a 5-1 lead for Sioux Falls East over Pierre. Listen to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. It is a 5-1 lead here for Sioux Falls East going into the top of the third inning. It'll be for Post State to lead things off 9-1-2. Jake Mayer, followed by Garrett Stout and Lincoln Keenels. If anybody reaches base, it'll go to Matt Lusk, the number 3 hitter in the order. Post State trails 5-1. First pitch from Boyum to to Mayer is grounded foul on the third base line. Post State has dropped the first 2 games of this tournament, and Greg, we have not seen them lose 3 games in a row all season, and they're right now down by 4. Obviously, it's still plenty of time, but they're in danger of potentially dropping a third straight game, as the 0-1 is a swing and a miss, now 0-2.
Yeah, and like we said a little earlier, they are 19-11 on the year, but 6 of those 11 losses have been by 1 run. And so it's kind of that time of the year where you just kind of have to figure out a way to win those tight ball games and find a way to come to crunch time late in the game. And right now the Eights are just struggling a little bit with that phase of the game.
Mayer looks at strike 3, and he is down for the first out. And here's Garrett Stout, who singled and then got the second on an error back in the top of the first inning, came around to score the only run so far for Post State as he looks at strike 1 here in his second at-bats here in the top of the third inning.
And the thing that you do with, if you're not able to dig out from this hole, I mean, the longer this game goes, the more confidence that Sioux Falls East begins to play with. And so at some point pretty soon, you got to kind of put a notch in that confidence. You got to start plating a couple of runs and just digging into that 5-1 lead.
The 1-1 is over, and it's now 1-2. That one hit the inside corner. Stout disagreed, and it's now a 1-2 count as Boyum will tie his shoe just out off the rubber.
Yeah, Stout actually backed away from that pitch as he thought it was going to come farther inside than it did, and the umpire called strike, and you just see Garrett visibly react in a bit of frustration.
Boyum's the 1-2 delivery to Stout. He'll swing and miss, and it's back-to-back strikeouts here in the top of the third inning. And that is 3 in a row dating back to the second for Boyum, as he now has 5 in the ball game. And here's Lincoln Keenels. And the dugout is pretty quiet over on the third base side here for Post State.
Yeah, not a lot to cheer about right now for the Eights today.
There's a ground ball right back to Boyum. He'll run it over to first base and flip it to the first baseman in Christoffels, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. Back-to-back 1-2-3 innings here for Boyum. After 2.5, it is a 5-1 lead for Sioux Falls East. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today it's KCCR, and today it's KCCR.com.
5-1.
As we welcome you back here to Humboldt, it is a 5-1 lead for Sioux Falls East going into the bottom of the third inning. And it will be 6, 7, and 8. Brady Christoffels, Aiden Beck, and Nick Lounsbury
Leading off the bottom of the third.
trying to increase their 4-run lead here in the bottom of the third inning. Post State, and right now a little bit of a danger zone here, trying to find something to cheer about, find something to try and obviously, this is a big game to win, not in terms of this tournament, but for seed points, but also trying to find themselves feeling a little bit better going into Tuesday against Harrisburg, as the first pitch is grounded through the hole on the left side for a leadoff single for Christoffels.
Yeah,
and that'll bring in Aiden Beck.
And baseball is very much about just being, getting on a roll, and you sometimes you can get on a roll, and all it takes is a couple of back-to-back hits or a couple of good defensive plays, and you generate a little momentum, and you can swing the pendulum pretty quickly. But right now, Post 8's on the other side of that spectrum. Just not much is going right for them this weekend, and so you really are looking for some kind of a spark, any kind of a spark right now, whether it's in the field or at the plate.
Matt Lusk will deliver the first pitch to Aiden Beck. He'll try and bunt the ball, and it will miss. It will not getting the runner over to second, though, as it got away from Hinkle. And it's now 0-1. You are listening to KCCR Pierre, a Riverfront broadcasting station, just past the 2 o'clock hour here. On this Saturday afternoon, final game of the tournament for Post 8. Win, lose, or draw. I guess win or lose. There's no draw here. It won't be a tie, but win or lose, it'll be the final game of the tournament for Post 8 this weekend, and their next two games will be on Tuesday against Harrisburg in a really big doubleheader, as Harrisburg is higher in the standings than Sioux Falls East, but that also, every game from here on out against the South Dakota team is pretty much amplified. You can multiply it by 2 or probably up to times 10, especially when you play Post 22 next weekend as well. The next pitch is foul back, now 1-2 to Aiden Beck, the catcher. He's 1 for 1 with a double and 3 runs driven in so far.
Yeah, and the Eights will play 2 South Dakota teams out in Rapid City next weekend, Sioux Falls West and Rapid City Post 22. They've got the 2 games against Harrisburg on Tuesday, and then they finish that with.
As the pitch got into the dirt, and the runner is off for second, and Christoffels, and the throw from Hinkle is on the money, and the tag from Stout applied, and Christoffels is gunned down trying to take second, and there's now 1 down here in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, maybe that's the play that starts things. Just finally the Eights get a break, and the ball actually popped out kind of danced away from Hinkle, and
there the batter went around in Beck, and he strikes out. They checked it over at first, and Beck, who probably thought he didn't have the bat go off of his shoulder, went all the way around the zone, or went through the zone, and it will be the second out and the third strikeout now the ball game for Matt Lusk, and there's 2 away here in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, just kind of a check swing. It didn't really look like maybe he'd gone all the way through the zone, but in the opinion of the field umpire, he said, yep, right away on the appeal that he rung him up, and so back-to-back pitches, back-to-back breaks for the Eights. And
maybe here with Nick Lounsbury up to the plate, if you retire him, it's a 1-2-3 inning, as that one's to the right side. It won't be a 1-2-3 inning, as this is going to be a 2-out single for Lounsbury. And I'll bring up Logan Baker, as Lounsbury's on now for the second time in a row in his 2 plate appearances. But you thought maybe you'll get that, and then all of a sudden things might start to turn around for you a little bit. But instead, it's going to be a runner at first with 2 down. Here's Logan Baker. And again, you're trying to still put up your first 0 of the ball game against Sioux Falls East. Here's the first pitch. Swing and a miss from Logan Baker. He struck out looking in his first at-bat. The first inning, it was everybody reached base except for the 3 guys that struck out looking. All 3 outs were retired by a called third strike. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Now 0-2 to Baker.
Yep, seven hits now for Post 15 East to go with a pair of walks. So they put 9 men on base in just 2 2/3 innings.
Matt Lusk with an 0-2 count. Here's the pitch. That one will bounce in, and not testing this time is Lounsbury. And it's 1-2. Here to the center fielder, to the right fielder, Logan Baker. Lusk will work from the stretch. Looking to retire the side. 1-2 pitch from Lusk to Baker. And we'll bounce it again. And it's now 2-2. And another good block there from Hinkle to keep the runner at first in Lounsbury. Just saw what happened to Christoffels trying to test the arm of Hinkle off of a good block and didn't work out so well. So Lounsbury a little bit more cautious trying to take second base on a ball that gets in the dirt. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Inside, now 3-2. And Lounsbury will take off as Matt Lusk will get a new ball from the home plate umpire. And the count is full. here with 2 down here in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Andy Gordon playing behind the runner at first base now, trying to give himself a little better angle on any ball that's coming his way.
Here's a 3-2 pitch upstairs, and that's a 2-out walk. And they're first and second with 2 away here in the bottom of the 3rd, and that'll bring up back to the top of the order for Grant Graber, his 3rd plate appearance in 3 innings. He walked and singled. He scored twice so far.
Kind of what you would expect out of your leadoff hitter. Gets on base, comes around and scores.
Matt Lusk will come set from the stretch. Here is the first pitch to Graber, high upstairs for ball 1.
Kind of looks like just your prototypical leadoff hitter, second baseman. Just kind of a small, scrappy young man. Probably checks in around 5'8", maybe 150 pounds, but handles the bat well. And we've seen him get on base a fair amount in the 2 games that we've played prior.
Yeah, he went to 0 for 1, but he didn't walk in that Sioux Falls in the game against Sioux Falls East back on Monday. As Coach White goes out, has a quick conversation with Matt Lusk, with the count being 1-0 to the leadoff hitter and Graber. 2 down here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Pitching coach Peyton Zabel not with the team this weekend. I think he threw last night for the Trappers in Pierre, and so he is not with the team this weekend. And so the pitching coach duties fall to Coach White. As
the 1-0 goes over and misses low, now 2-0. I believe heard that the Twins and Brewers were in attendance of that ball game last night. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the rumor that I've been told. As a media member, I guess I should be a little bit more factual when I start saying that out over the radio.
I'm not a media member. You just tell me. I can say it.
I didn't say it. Greg did. 2-1's the count.
I'm the rumor monger of the day.
Matt, that's right. Yeah, it's just the rumors. 2-1 pitch upstairs. Now 3-1.
Well, I think it was obvious that in his first outing for the Trappers a week ago, first outing for Zabel coming off of Tommy John surgery a year ago, and they got video of him going up to over 99 miles an hour on the radar gun in that outing. Struck out 5 in his inning and 2/3 of work. I mean, that video, I think, just within the first 24 to 48 hours was viewed over 25,000 times. So it got a lot of mileage.
As the count is full now to Grant Graber. Both the runners will get a head start with 2 down here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Matt Lusk will come set from the stretch. Here is the 3-2 pitch. And there's a swing and a miss, and Lusk will get his 2nd strikeout of the inning, 4th of the ball game, and that will retire the side here in the bottom of the 3rd. No runs on 2 hits in the inning, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We have played 3 full innings. It is a 5-1 Sioux Falls East lead. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Matt Lusk will lead things off here in the top of the 4th inning. 5-1 is our score. Sioux Falls East, they did Post State put a 0 up on the board in the bottom of the 3rd for Sioux Falls East, as Lusk, who doubled in his first at-bat. He drove in, actually did not drive in Garrett Stout. He was only able to get the 3rd, as Lusk will look at strike 1 from Tyler Boyum, who has retired the last 8 in a row. After that double to Lusk, he got Gordon a swing and a miss on a strikeout. Iverson to ground out to the end of the inning, and back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings, and it's now 0-2 to Matt Lusk.
Boyum last appeared for Post 15 East on Tuesday in a 10-2 win over Sioux Falls West. Game he started went 5 2/3 innings.
Lusk will go to left field, but that's going to hang up. The wind was able to keep that up for Sprinkle to make the catch, and there's now one down. The leadoff man is retired, and 9 in a row for Tyler Boyum, who settled in after giving up a base hits and an error that got stopped to second and a double in the first three batters. And that is all that's been had so far for Post 8. Andy Gordon will look at strike one. He struck out swinging his first at bat.
Boyum is able to spot that curveball. He's been able to throw that curveball for strikes early in the count and get Post 8 on their heels, and he's been able to pitch from ahead. And so Boyum, obviously quality pitcher, like we said, through Tuesday in the win over Sioux Falls West, went 5 2/3, gave up 5 hits, 1 unearned run, walked 1, and struck out 4, and 75 pitches over those 5 2/3.
The 0-2 is a miss low. Now 1-2 here to Andy Gordon. Junior Legion team for Post 8. They win 5-2 in their game against the Marshall Black 17U team. That was, I believe, over in Brandon Valley. The 1-2 pitch, swinging a miss in the dirt, and Gordon is tagged out. And there's now 2 down and make it an even 10 in a row. Retired by Boyum. And that'll bring in River Iverson, who grounded the third baseman in his first at-bats.
And again, you're looking for something, anything, to put a spark into this Post 8 offense today.
There's a ground ball to the right side, fielded by the second baseman. The throw to first will retire the side in order again. 11 in a row here for for Tyler Boyum, as River Iverson is retired. 3.5 has gone by. Sioux Falls East, they lead 5-1 over Post 8. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball. Today's KCCR, and today's KCCR.com. Bottom of the fourth inning, it is 5-1 lead here for Sioux Falls East, 2, 3, and 4. It's Schaefer, Sprinkle, and Boyum to lead things off. Matt Lusk, after giving up 1 run the second, retired the side with a 0 for the first time here for Sioux Falls East in the ball game, but they still lead 5-1 as we play here in the bottom of the fourth. And they're struggling for Post 8 to get anything offensively going, with 11 straight retired from Tyler Boyum. Here's Ty Schaefer, 1 for 2. Singled in the first, came around to score, and then struck out in the second. Matt Lusk delivers the first pitch of the bottom of the fourth, over for strike 1 to Schaefer.
Matt Lusk entering his third inning of work. 4 hits allowed so far, just 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. 44 pitches, 25 for strikes so far for Lusk. So he's been relatively effective. I mean, pitch counts may be a little high, but been relatively effective for Post 8. And what he really needs to do is just keep this game at a 5-1 deficit, and hopefully the Post 8 bats will wake up sometime here in the next 4 innings.
Lusk added Schaefer down 0-2 in the count, ended up hitting him just grazing the jersey. And there's another one that Coach White not going to be happy with, an 0-2 count, and you end up plunking the guy. Here's Nate Sprinkle. He will try and bunt, shows bunt, pulls it back, take it for strike 1. And did not like the call. He started to point down to where it was at the plate and decided that's probably a better idea to not point down or try and tell the umpire where it crossed.
Yeah, rule number one of any baseball player is do not show up the umpire because that will come back to bite you very quickly.
Count is 0-1 to Sprinkle. Let's see if the bunt is still on here as Lusk will deliver the 0-1 pitch, and it will be still on. There's a bunt that's going to be just on the first base line, and it might have been going foul, but Lusk picked it up with no play to make, and it's a infield hit for Nate Sprinkle, and it's first and second with nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Yeah, just again, bad break for the eights. Just a bunt that Sprinkle popped up, but he was able to get it right on the line. And like you said, the best play may have been to just let that ball, go and see if it does end up rolling foul. Lusk picked it up and really didn't have a play once he touched the ball.
1-2, first and second here with nobody out. The first pitch is popped up and fouls. They're going to stay in play. Hinkle will watch it just hit the top of the grandstand behind home plate from Tyler Boyum, who is 1 for 1. He walked, came around to score, and then doubled home the fifth run of the ball game. It'll be interesting of what Coach White wants to do. Do you save, give Matt Lusk all the way up to that spot where he has to take just 2 days off, and then he can come back and throw on Tuesday and go with somebody else here later in this game? That one's popped up into left field. Iverson will come over and make the catch, and there's one down here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Because you look at, you use Bennett Dean, Elliott Life, Lincoln Keynoles, and A.J. Gayden, although A.J. Gayden and Bennett Dean, actually all of them can probably throw on Tuesday as it is, but you can maybe go with someone else for Post State before you get to Matt Lusk where he can't. He has to take at least 3 days off. First pitch is upstairs for ball one.
Yeah, and if you're going to do that, you're going to have to do it fairly quickly. That was Lusk's 52nd pitch of the day. His top number would be 60 if you're going to bring him back on Tuesday, and there's no action in the bullpen right now down the left field line for Post State. So if he's able to go past that 60 mark, or if you replace him before he gets to that 60 pitch mark, it'd have to be with a position player.
Here is the next pitch to Garen Heinertz. That one's fouled back off of Hinkle, and the count is now 2-1 here to the shortstop Heiner. And I think, you got River Iverson out in left field. Look at where everybody else is at. I mean, you can bring A.J. Gayden back in. I believe Mayer could pitch as well.
He only threw 6 pitches yesterday.
Here's the 2-1, just low now, 3-1. But if Matt Lusk gets to that point where he exceeds that 60-pitch mark and he doesn't get taken out, then you might as well ride him to the 105th pitch, and because there's no game on Wednesday. 3-1 pitch upstairs, and it's a walk, and the bases are now loaded here with one down in the bottom of the fourth inning. And a couple of different rules here for this tournament. It's a 12-run rule after 4, and it can be an 8-run rule after 5. So although it's a 4-run lead right now for Sioux Falls West, just going to put that in mind that this game could end the fourth inning if Sioux Falls West or Sioux Falls East just kind of starts to open the floodgates, but could also end in the top of the fifth if they score 4 runs here and Post State unable to score in the top half of that inning. Not the usual just 10 runs after 5 innings that you usually see during the regular season. Lusk is going to go work from the windup here with one down in the bottom of the fourth. There's a swing and a miss by Brady Christoffels. It was 1 for 2. He singled last inning and was thrown out trying to advance on a pitch in the dirt. 1 pitch. That one's upstairs now, 1-1. This would probably be Matt Lusk's last batter to save him into Tuesday.
Yeah, and I see no action out of in the dugout, so I got to figure that this is probably Matt Lusk's game to win or lose. I suspect he's probably on the hook now for the remainder of the game, unless the wheels really just come off for Post 8.
Count is 2-1 here to Christoffels. Lusk from the windup. There's a line shot into center field. Jack Van Camp's not going to get to it. It's going to roll all the way to the fence. 2 runs are going to score. They're going to try maybe a third run. Nope, they're going to hold him up at third. And it will be a 2 RBI double for Brady Christoffels, and the leads open up to 7-1 here for Sioux Falls East, with one down in the bottom of the fourth.
Yeah, just fastball that Lusk left over the middle of the plate, and again, something Christoffels hit on a line, and like we said today, the ball is carrying, and that one hop to the fence out in left center field, and the deficit has now grown from 5-1 to 7-1 for the Eights, and so it's going to take a monumental effort, like you said, with only one out. And both runners in scoring position, this one could be in danger.
A.J. Gayden drops the ball out in right field. That's going to be a one-out error, and it's going to plate up another run, and it's now 8-1, and the lead's up to 7 here for Sioux Falls East, which would have probably scored a run anyway, but the error charge to Gayden will bring in that 8th run.
Like you said, John, with the tournament rule being 8 runs after 5 innings, the eighth run, which the run which would make it 9-1 and make that 8-run difference is standing on third base with one out, and so Matt Lusk and the rest of the Eights have to figure out a way to get out of this inning without allowing another run. Otherwise, they're going to have to put something on the board in the top of the 5th. First to stay alive.
First pitch to Lounsbury's over for strike one. So this becomes even more important that runner at third doesn't score. Obviously, it won't end the game, but will put the Eights in a must-score position in the top of the 5th to try and keep the ball game alive. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one is down the right field line. That one's going to drop in for a base hit, and it's going to make it 9-1, rounding second and going into third. It'll be an RBI single for Lounsbury, and that lead is up to 8. So Post State has to score in the top of the 5th inning to keep the ball game alive. But at the same time, as Coach Brian White will make his way out to the mound with Logan Baker up, he represents. The winning run now is actually in the on deck circle for Sioux Falls East as they lead by 8, 9-1.
Yeah, and this is not a replacement visit to the mound. This is just a settle down, kind of maybe take a little momentum out of Sioux Falls East bats and maybe take them out of rhythm a little bit. But yeah, just one of those days for Post State. Just nothing has gone right from the time that the first pitch was thrown in the first game today through right now.
And you look at from that 7th inning. From Pierre and West Fargo, everything's kind of been snowballed to this point where Post State was almost an out away from a 1-0 shutout win of West Fargo and ended up losing a walk-off walk here in the first game today. They lost 2-1 yesterday to West Fargo and now down 9-1 here as the first pitch to Logan Baker is missed low for ball 1.
And again, this is a situation on a weekend where Post State so far has only scored 6 runs in 2+ games. I mean, this is a team that came in with a collective team 326 batting average. So it's not like they're a bad offensive team. It's just and every team goes through this. Every team goes through collective slumps, and unfortunately for Post State, I think it's hit this weekend.
As the 1-0 is bounced in, now 2-0. Yeah, I would say this is the stretch of the season where things are at the low point for Post State, and every team goes through it. It's not just a Post State thing. It's every team goes through a low point and a high point, and right now you would think that this is probably the low point in the season for Post State, and hopefully they can work themselves out of that here going into Tuesday. Swing and a miss on the 2-0 pitch from Baker. It is now 2-1. He is 0 for 1, struck out looking, and also walked so far in this ball game. On deck is the top of the order, and Grant Graber, who might be coming to the plate for the 4th time in 4 innings. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Baker. That one's fouled back, and the count is now even at 2-2. So Post State in the top of the 5th inning will have 6, 7, and 8, needing at least 1 run right now to try and keep the ball game alive. If that runner at third comes in to score, they're going to have to score at least 2 runs to keep the ball game going, as they trail by 8, 9-1 right now. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Lusk to Baker. That one will bounce in. The count is full now, 3-2. On deck again, Grant Graber, the top of the order, would be the 9th man to come to the plate for Sioux Falls East. Regardless of the outcome of this game, Post State will be done with this tournament. Here's the 3-2. That one's chopped foul. we'll do it again with a full count.
Yeah, just got to find a way to get an out right now. And just now, even if you end up giving up the run at third base, just outs are probably more important than runs right now, because you just got to figure out a way to make a play or make a pitch.
3-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and Baker goes down on strikes for the second time in the ball game, and there's now 2 down. That'll bring up Grant Graber, who is 1 for 2. Walked, singled it, came around to score both times, and then struck out to end the bottom of the third. Hits here with 2 downs, with 2 down here in the bottom of the fourth. Here's the first pitch from Lusk to Graber after a long pause. Outside for ball 1.
A little surprised that with runners on the corners that Sioux Falls East didn't at least try to put the runner on first in motion and try to get him into scoring position earlier in that bat against Baker.
As Graber checks his swing, but goes through the zone, and it's now 1-1. And that runner at first in Lounsbury still over there at first. Beck is on at third. Here's the 1-1 pitch. On the outside corner, now 1-2. West Fargo, Sioux Falls East will play after this here at Humboldt, and then West Central and West Fargo will play to finish out the pool play for the Humboldt pool. As the 1-2, that one's popped up on the right side. Playable for Mayer, can't find it, and now will make the catch to retire the side here in the bottom of the fourth. All 9 guys come to the plate here in the 4th inning. Another 3-run score for Sioux Falls East. 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 men left on base. We head to the top of the 5th. Post State needs at least 1 run to keep the ball game alive. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Top of the 5th inning is a 9-1 lead here for the Sioux Falls East team, and they are 3 outs away from going 2-0 to open up this pool, which will put them in a win and you're in situation against West Fargo. And that they'll play next. If West Fargo would beat Sioux Falls East, then West Fargo has a chance to win the pool. If they would beat then West Central. So the pool could come to the winner of the pool could be figured out after next game, or it could come all the way down to the final game of the pool as the swing and a miss by Cade Hinkle, which then, if that would be the case, if West Central would win, then they go 2-1, and East, West Fargo, and West Central could all go 2-1 in this pool, which would then go to runs against to determine who would be the winner of the Humboldt pool. But again, Sioux Falls East still going to finish this game. We got a 1-1 count, and they're up 9-1. They're 3 outs away here in the top of the 5th to get that win, as it's an 8-run rule after 5 that they can win this ball game. Count is 2-1 here to Cade Hinkle.
Hinkle is kind of an on-base machine. We've talked about the number of walks that he has, and I'm looking as he comes into the weekend. He is what is he? 3rd on the team, I believe, 3rd or 4th on the team with a 427 on base average. So if you're looking for somebody to lead off an inning, hopefully generate a little offense, get on base, maybe create a little something, Hinkle's probably the guy.
Count is 2-2 here to Cade Hinkle. It'll be Hinkle, Van Camp, and A.J. Gaden. 2-2 is grounded to the left side, fielded by the shortstop, and Heinert. Throw to first is low, not scooped out, and the leadoff man is aboard here at the top of the 5th inning. It was close. It was a close play, but I believe we'll see what the official scoring is, and they're going to give an error to Heinertz. So there's the second time that Heinert has picked up an error in this ball game. And then bring up Jack Van Camp. It was 0 for 1. That's the first guy to reach base since Matt Lusk double back in the top of the first for Post State. First pitch to Van Camp is outside for ball 1.
Yeah, and not going to put any plays on here. Not down eight runs. I mean, if you're Coach White, you're just saying to the boys, grip and rip right now.
1-0 pitch, swing and a miss. Now 1-1.
Still got to have a good approach at the plate. Can't come out of your shoes swinging, but you really are looking for balls to be put in play and try to put some pressure on the Sioux Falls East defense.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. There's a swing and a miss. It's now 1-2 to Jack Van Camp. Post State's in danger of losing their third straight game, which would be their first 3-game losing streak of the season. Would put them just 7 games over 500 and 19-12. The 1-2 is inside. Now at 2-2.
And that's what you really try to do as a baseball team, is you really try to avoid those long losing streaks. I mean, if you can string together the winning streaks are nice, but you really try to avoid those long losing streaks because when things go south on you, it just takes twice as much effort to recoup and bring them back out of the depths.
AJ Gaden will step to the plate as Van Camp strikes out swinging. There's one down here in the top of the 5th inning. First pitch to Gaden is a swing and a miss. And it's 0-1. It's 8 runs is the differential. Obviously, this is not necessarily the last inning. Could be the last inning, as that one's chopped foul now, 1-2 or 0-2 to Gaden. But you can't just let Hinkle take second. And in the top of the 7th, you might say, well, yeah, Hinkle can take second because you're up by 8 runs. You don't really care about that run, but that's an important run in terms of saving your pitcher in Boyum. To have few pitches thrown. The 0-2 has popped up into shallow left center field. Going back to the shortstop in Heinert. He'll make the catch, and there's now 2 down. And Post State down to their final out here in the ball game, as it was going to be Jake Mayer,
number 13, second base,
who struck out looking in his first at bat.
Yep, and again, we talked about just maybe trying to put some swings together, and they just haven't happened here, even in the 5th inning.
Here's the first pitch from Boyum to Mayer. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. And, yeah, Boyum, first 2 guys, he got a base hit from Stout. He got the second on the air. Kane Knowles lined out to the third baseman, a double by Matt Lusk. And then the first run came in and scored a wild pitch. Since then, no hits allowed. Only 1 guy has reached base, and it's been by an error. No walks in the game from Boyum, as the count is now 1-1 to Jake Mayer.
Boyum's hat has actually flown off the last 2 pitches he's delivered.
1-1. There's a line shot that just misses everybody.
Ooh, and
I think McGuire Rasky just avoided getting hit by that line drive. It hit the yellow piping over the top of the fence. And the count is at 1-2. And everybody seems to be okay over there. Rasky's going to get the souvenir from that. The third baseman tossed the ball over to Rasky. Say, here's your life flash before your eyes begin.
Yeah, Rasky was the last one to get up, but he got up smiling, which is a good sign because I was holding my breath there for a second.
Boyum will come sent from the stretch. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and Mayer will skate out to center field. Going back on it's the center fielder, and the catch is going to be made by Lounsbury, and that will end the ball game. As Post State will fall 9-1 here in the second game. And a 8-run rule after 5 innings. So Post State goes 0-3 in the tournament. We'll step aside for 2 minutes to wrap up the weekend here at Humboldt. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today is KCCR. Today is KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Humboldt to wrap things up here this weekend, as Post State, they fall in the third game of the day, or third game of the weekend, 9-1 to Sioux Falls East. That's the one that is going to hurt the most, because it's going to hurt the seed points for the Eights. But they go 0-3 in the tournament. Their tournament comes to an end, and will turn their attention to Harrisburg on Tuesday.
Yeah, and again, we talked about the fact that every team, no matter how good you are or at what level you play, you're gonna have ups and downs, and you try to keep the downs to a minimum. And right now the Eights have hit a little bit of a trough with this 3-game losing streak this weekend, and again, the fact that the first 2 losses were by 1 run. But the offense disappeared this weekend. Only 6 runs over 3 games. Just a tough weekend overall for the Eights, and the pitching, other than this game against Sioux Falls East, the pitching the first 2 games is actually fairly decent. I mean, you hold a really good West Fargo team down to 2 runs, and then only give up 5 in the next game. And in most days in Legion baseball, 5 holding another team to 5 runs is something that you should be able to put enough runs on the board. And today, unfortunately for the Eights, just didn't work out.
The line totals here for this ball game: 9 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors, and 7 men left on base for Sioux Falls East. 1 run on 2 hits, 2 errors in the ball game, and 2 men left on base for Post State in the 9-1 loss here this afternoon to Sioux Falls East. They are now 19-12 in the season as Post State. They will take on Harrisburg on Tuesday and look to end this 3-game losing streak. And those are 2 real important games, Greg, for Post State to try and beat Harrisburg to keep pace and to stay up in the standings and be in that top 4 for Post State.
Yeah, and right now, as we said, Harrisburg sitting. We don't have the updated standings. These are current as of Thursday afternoon. Harrisburg sitting in 5th place overall in the standings. Pierre sitting in 3rd. Then we'll see how this loss hits them today. Although Watertown was in 4th, and they lost 10-0 to Renner yesterday. So a little bit of a break there for the Eights. But we'll see where this loss today puts them, but really just magnifies how important that doubleheader is against Harrisburg on Tuesday, and then those 2 games that we know we're playing against South Dakota teams out in Rapid City are next weekend.
That'll wrap things up for us here this weekend from Humboldt, as Post State goes 0-3. They will not play tomorrow in the semifinals. For Deidre Scott back at the station, Greg Dean to my left, I'm John Winkler. We will be back on the air on Tuesday as Post State takes on Harrisburg, looking to end this 3-game losing streak. In the doubleheader today, they lose 5-4 to West Central and lose 9-1 to Sioux Falls East, as we say so long from Humboldt.